Again. That song go? Countdown final. Alright, getting set up here. Good morning. We're gonna watch some of the updates. Let me just play the intro. Dr. J. Good morning. Everybody, good morning. Kendra, Monica, Angela, Lexa, Veronica. Did I screw up? Never used a machete before, as you can tell. This time we got. Oh, shh. Have a little caffeine beverage. In a minute, I'm gonna stop and look where we're at on GPS. Something out there. Heard something. I'm gonna pull up my GPS. See where we're at. Oh shit. You're not gonna believe this. We're actually going back towards the trail. We're not going up. We're going sideways. Here's something creepy for you guys. We thought we were going straight up north, like north. We thought we were going up this. Something up here. Just heard something. All right. An animal or somebody's up here.
All right.
Still kind of optimizing, but anyway.
Bird. Big Bird. Holy. Yo, I thought somebody was out here.
Yo, good morning, good morning. What's up, what's up? I figured we could do a little update this morning, kind of brief. I didn't really optimize things, but I have a couple of video clips that I wanted to show you. We're going to start off with the live press conference that's going on now. See what they have to say. I'm pulling it up right now. And a couple of interesting clips from between today and last night that I saw. And I finally understand now. I was talking to people on Discord this morning why that whole John McAfee thing was going on. People kept mentioning him about this whole building collapsing, and apparently there's like this fake tweet allegedly that's been put out saying that if something happens to John, which he's dead now, that these terabytes of data on the government is in the building, and he gave the address allegedly of this building that collapsed. So that's why people kept joining the live stream, mentioning him. I had no idea that was going on until today when I was watching some other video. But let's put this up. Put it up here. Let's see. We're a little bit behind from the actual live stream. The weather too here has been just very rainy, thundery, raining all last night, raining all this week, raining this morning.
I have the media here with me. I know there were some concerns regarding some credentialing and so forth. For right now, the media does not need any credentialing.
Oh.
However, you must enter tomorrow off 86 and Harding, which is right here to my right. 86 and Harding, you enter through there, show your credential from work, and they will allow you into this part right here. So only if you go to any other checkpoint, you will get challenged and not allowed in, because now it's become a restricted area.
See, it's restricted.
But if you come in through 86 and Harding, which is right here.
I had a feeling I couldn't get in there even if I wanted to.
Come in through this checkpoint. I'm sorry? Effective tomorrow.
Not tomorrow.
Oh, early morning. You'll see us there. The guys are there. Hello,
and in the meantime,
I'm going to introduce the first speaker for the day, Governor Ron DeSantis.
I'll be pulling up some stuff in the background for us to watch. There's a couple things I wanted to show you guys.
Good afternoon. I appreciate all the hard work. You see, it's been nonstop. I've been able to visit with a lot of the search and rescue teams who are now from all across the state being deployed here, the largest deployment in a non-hurricane related response in the history of the state, 24/7, and we appreciate that very much. And that will continue, and that work will continue. And I've been meeting with a lot of the families privately to offer any type of support we could provide, offer any type of consolation of the best that we can given the difficult circumstances. And, you know, I think that while there's an overwhelming amount of grief, there's just still...
Thanks for the catch up, Lisa. Appreciate it. Just saw it now.
The apprehension about not knowing for sure, and I know there have been more identifications made today, but rest assured that that those folks are going to be working on that pile, and it's not going to stop, and they're going to get answers one way or another. I also have been able to see the toll. You have some people that have lived remarkable lives, have tremendous families, and to be able to see the the real raw pain and emotion that this has caused is something that I don't think any of us are going to ever forget. But it's also something for some are going to require some additional help. And so we have mental health resources that are here in Surfside, have been here for a number of days now. We've been able to link individual families at their request for that support. But that support is there if folks need it. And we want to make sure that that they're getting to the right places, because everybody handles these things differently, and there's going to be a need, I think. You've seen a great community support, but specifically with some of these resources, we anticipate that this is going to be something that is going to require a lot of attention, and understandably so. So our state agencies are in that for the long haul, as are the community groups who've stepped up so well.
Let me check Facebook.
And then the final thing I'll just point out is
this
is the attention of the state, of the country, and in some respects the world, and rightfully so. But we also understand it's a big state, This is hurricane season.
Oh yeah, it's wrong on
There's
Facebook.
assets here that
Can't stand this crap.
that could potentially
Jesus
be used
Christ.
in future disasters as those come.
You fix it.
So the state government's monitoring all storms that are happening. There are some. Kevin Guthrie's going to provide a little bit of brief on that. But suffice it to say, we take those very seriously. And we'll take whatever steps are necessary to make sure that we would be able to respond. We hope we don't have to. We hope it doesn't come to that. But tis the season, and you got to be ready. So I want to thank our Florida Department of Emergency Management, all their personnel. This is a key mission, one of the most important in the state's history. They are also over a year on COVID. And then they've been able to prepare to respond to storms as well, should those storms present themselves for us. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Mr. Governor. To provide comments in Spanish, we have Lieutenant Governor Jeanette Nunez.
Good afternoon, buenas tardes, muchas gracias. El gobernador ha dicho que constate aquí con el curso, pero estamos con un poder.
Benefits to a late start. You skip past.
Good morning, everyone. Day 7. Our USAR teams have worked through the night, as they have every single night, to make headway through the rubble, and I want to thank them once again for their tremendous effort. The world is watching. Their bravery, putting themselves in harm's way to find people in the rubble. The weather has continued, unfortunately, inclement, causing definitely some challenges, but they have continued. They have persisted. The operation is moving forward. We pray for their safety on this mission. We've now recovered 4 additional victims. The number of deceased is at 16.
16, wow.
12 next of kin notifications have been completed. That is 4 families still waiting to hear. Please join me in continuing to pray for those who've lost their lives in this unthinkable tragedy, and all of their families who are grieving, and all of those who are still waiting and waiting and waiting for news. As I mentioned, we are conducting an audit of the list of those accounted and unaccounted for over the last few days. Our detectives have been working around the clock to reach every single person who we have been told may be missing by a loved one. We need to verify every report and to remove duplicates wherever possible. Please, this takes some time, and we will continue to update you. As of now, the number of accounted for is 139. The number of unaccounted, 147. And to remind you, we were previously including the number of deceased in the accounted for number, but for clarity moving forward, we're separating that, and so we have deceased, accounted, and unaccounted. As I mentioned yesterday, the process of verifying every names on these lists is very slow and methodical. So we are calling everybody, all family members, and sometimes we receive incomplete reports. We don't have the full information. It's difficult to reach some of the people who provided reports, and so our detectives are continuing to work and will continue to provide the best possible numbers, the best updates as we get them. So the numbers are fluid and will continue to change. Please, anybody who has information, provide that information to us as soon as possible. It could be about a safe person or a missing person. Please call our hotline, 305-614-1819, 305-614-1819, and the website is miamidade.gov/emergency. We've also continued to expand operations at our Family Assistance Center. My Deputy Incident Commander, Charles Ciraldo, will give you further details about that next. And we are monitoring 2 systems, storm systems, in an abundance of caution. And Florida Department of Emergency Management Director Kevin Guthrie will give us an update about the storms that we're monitoring. So as we continue our search and rescue efforts 24/7 without stop, we're also taking immediate action to provide answers and accountability. I've been in close contact with our state attorney, Kathy Fernandez-Rundle, and her office will be spearheading. We hope she'll be asking the grand jury to do an investigation into the collapse. And we're also continuing to move forward with our own county audit of those buildings in the recertification process, and we're collaborating with our partners in the cities to support them as they conduct similar audits in their cities. We have 34 cities in Miami-Dade County. As I mentioned yesterday, my team and I are also meeting with subject matter experts on the issues relevant to this investigation. This will be from leaders in our coastal cities as well as experts from every possible angle. So we are going to get inputs and develop a set of recommendations for changes that need to be made here in the building process at the local level to ensure that this tragedy can never, ever happen again. And we know that our city partners, our state and federal as well, will be doing the same. So I'm grateful, beyond grateful, for this incredible team, for this deployment, and for this community. And we are doing everything humanly possible and then some to get through this tragedy, and we are doing it together. Los equipos de rescate trabajaron toda la noche y han...
Thanks, Chick Benny, for the cash app. Just saw that. Appreciate it. Hey, Hemi, what's up, man? How you doing? Hope you're doing better, dude.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Division Director for Office of Emergency Management, Deputy Incident Commander Charles Ciraldo.
Good morning, everyone. The past nearly 7 days have been an all-hands-on-deck effort led by Miami-Dade County in close collaboration with our federal, state partners. I want to provide you with a few updates, beginning with the Family Assistance Center. As of this morning, we now have 26 organizations present at the Family Assistance Center. Together, these organizations, in their first full day, have served 30 families, offering an array of mental health, grief counseling, financial, lodging, travel, and logistical assistance, as well as many other services. I want to thank the 26 organizations who are working with us to provide this support. And I'd also like to thank everyone who has continued to generously support the relief efforts from your contributions that you are making. They are welcomed and greatly received. There have, unfortunately, been some people trying to take advantage.
Oh, Lord, not with this, too.
Fraudulent GoFundMe accounts.
Bro, that's what I've been hearing, too. I was talking to Sylvia a little bit about this last night. There's a couple things we're going to talk about after we watch this thing. A couple clips that I have to show you guys. But apparently, they're doing fake GoFundMes for this thing, too. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
What we can do is to ensure that you are properly submitting funds or donating to the appropriate agencies. We express that you go to www.miamidade.gov/emergency. Anyone watching at home can visit this site and choose one of the agencies to support and to donate. You can also sign up here, there to volunteer, and we stress that it's important to sign up in advance to volunteer. Please do not show up at the site without signing up first.
Oh, okay.
Thank you very much.
Damn scams, boy.
Thank you, Commander. To translate for the Deputy Incident Commander, Miami-Dade Fire Rescue Public Information Officer Erica Benitez.
Muy buenas tardes. Estos últimos 7 días han sido un esfuerzo de mano de obra en colaboración con Miami-Dade y el apoyo extraordinario a partir de en este una alojamiento alto.
Thank you, Erica. And representing the Florida Division of Emergency Management, Director
What's up?
Guthrie.
Morning. Bienvenido.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to provide another update on the recent state response efforts. The Division of Emergency Management is working with Miami-Dade County Emergency Management to develop contingency plans for severe weather, including tropical cyclones. As part of this planning, the division requested a federal USAR team that we mentioned yesterday. The reason for this is that we will need that team to augment
I blow my nose.
the efforts here so that we can free up some of our state assets to be able to respond to a tropical cyclone. That team will be here later today. Again, I want to be clear that this is contingency planning, and at this point in time, we're working with our state meteorologist. We're working with Dr. Ken Graham at the National Hurricane Center. I talked to Dr. Graham just before this news conference.
Wheezy, what's up?
He's keeping his team well aware of what's going on here. My team is very aware of what's going on here, and we will be closely monitoring the tropics. However, if a system does develop, I want to ensure you we have contingency plans, which include facility relocation, communications, backup plans of how we will continue to respond here while responding to the hurricane. Our state emergency response team back in Tallahassee, you heard the governor talk about that they've been responding for well over 470 days. A handful of them, about 20, went right into this response as well and have been working that ever since last Thursday night. So we are well aware, and we have done before, where we have responded to multiple emergencies in the state at the same time. State Emergency Response Team is extremely experienced in managing multiple disasters at one time. The Florida Department of Transportation has brought in additional district staff to assist with around-the-clock debris removal. FDOT is also deploying additional heavy equipment from other areas of the state to assist with this effort. The Florida Department of Environmental Protection has issued an emergency final order waiving permitting requirements for the storage and processing of solid waste. This emergency final order will remove any requirements that may hinder the debris removal process. The emergency final order also includes guidance for disaster debris to assist the heavy rescue operations. The Florida Housing Finance Corporation has identified more than 120 multifamily rental developments to provide emergency housing to displaced individuals impacted by the collapse. The Florida Housing Finance Corporation has also requested that the Department of Housing and Urban Development at the federal level waive income limitations and other provisions to allow families affected by this tragedy to reside in any vacant unit home-funded properties. The state has also deployed additional human services personnel from the Florida Department of Education to respond to the Family Assistance Center to support the county's efforts. Overall, the state is continuing to fulfill all requests by our local partners. I also want to encourage all individuals impacted by this disaster to visit surfsidestrength.com. Again, that is surfsidestrength.com. This website provides resources for immediate emotional support and assistance. During this difficult time, the state is encouraging individuals to prioritize their mental health. The website is also available to families, survivors, first responders. Please remember to take care of yourself.
Hey, Deanna. What's up?
Thank you.
Good morning. Welcome. Stay
Thank you, Director.
case.
Florida Department
Bossy.
of Economic Opportunity, Secretary Dane Eagle.
At the Governor's direction, the Department of Economic Opportunity continues to assess the economic impact to the area and meet with individual businesses. The update this morning is that the SBA, the Small Business Administration, has accepted the Governor's request to draw down additional funds. This will allow local families,
Regina, good morning.
nonprofits to qualify for low-interest loans. They will be deploying personnel to the Family Assistance Center, where we also have a team deployed, and our 2 mobile units will assist them in identifying businesses who have expressed a need for assistance. We want to continue to direct businesses, families, nonprofits in need to floridadisaster.biz, floridadisaster.biz, where they can access these resources. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Surfside Mayor Charles Burkett.
Good morning. I started my day today, as I normally do now, with a tour of the site. I wanted to respond to the families who have been asking me questions about the dogs. Are the dogs being used? Are the dogs active? And I made it a point to visit with several of the handlers. And yes, indeed, they are very, very active. And we have two sets of dogs there. We have dogs that are looking for people who are alive, and we have dogs that are looking for people who have passed on. And they rotate those dogs in and out. An interesting question that came up in our conversation was whether or not the winds and the rain are inhibiting the dogs, and the handlers told me no. The dogs are not inhibited. As a matter of fact, they practice and they pick up scents from great distances, and the winds actually apparently the dogs are able to follow the scents to the destination, so that was good. I will tell you,
I thought that kind of stuff does have an effect for dogs. I mean, I don't know, maybe not in this particular situation, but there's a couple of things we got to see that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk a little bit about the John McAfee thing too. I didn't know that's why people were talking about that yesterday. It kept coming up and coming up and coming up.
Day 7, I believe, and in all the days I've been going to the site 3 times a day, I've never seen as many assets in place on that site. We've got heavy equipment, and it's actively lifting gigantic pieces of concrete out of that pile. We've got waves of first responders and rescue people all over the top of that mound, all over the side of that mound, and I'm told underneath that mound. So that's really good. Following that, I went up to visit with the families. I want to commend Mayor Cava. There's a revision in the way that the reports are now given twice a day to the families. It's very restricted, and it's only families that are getting inside. And I believe that the families do appreciate that, because the questions are coming exclusively from the families. They're getting the answers that they want, so that's very productive. With respect to, there's been some talk by the families. They've asked me if the search is going to stop. Are we going to turn this from a rescue to a recovery? And I appreciated the governor's comments just a few minutes ago, where he basically said, we're not leaving anybody behind. This is going to go until we pull everybody out of there.
I had a discussion about this last night with Silvio again, too. We were kind of talking about all these different scenarios. And we're not experts or nothing like that. I'm not. But we're wondering if it's possible that maybe not everybody might be recovered, depending on what happened on there. Like if there was a sinkhole situation, because we were talking a little bit. I was watching some videos about sinkholes. I'm not going to get too far into it. And we've talked about it previously on live streams, and I was reading some articles and stuff because it happens all over the world. But I was specifically looking at Florida, and there's been instances where people have been sucked in, disappeared, and never been found again. I'm not wishing that or saying that for anybody, but I was just thinking the possibility that are they going to find everybody? And Sylvia was thinking too, because of the way the building fell, like I wonder if everybody's like towards the bottom or something. And I'm going to show you some footage too of them searching. I mean, it looks like just small pieces of like rocks and just small rubble, and it's just like, it's like so far, I don't know, maybe there's gaps or something, but it looks like it's just everything kind of closed in on itself. Yeah, thank you for the stars, appreciate that. Almost to the Facebook star challenge goal, which is amazing. I'm a little stuffy this morning too. I don't know, my nose is
This is our number one effort, and I very much appreciate that. And I know
yeah, that's the story I was looking at. Monica said, I live in Tampa where the man was swallowed by a sinkhole in his bed. Yeah. For the people that are just joining, I believe they said now it's like 16 death toll rises to 16, but like 12 were identified. They're still waiting to, I guess, reach out to the families and stuff before they name the other people. 16 or 17. I heard 16, I believe. So the numbers are going to constantly be changing.
Appreciate that, and we'll all keep working to make that happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Miami-Dade Fire Rescue Chief Alan Kaminsky.
Good morning. I just wanted to emphasize
We're about to talk about the Navy blast too. Thanks, Wendy.
hard work that all our personnel are doing here on scene. Miami-Dade Fire Rescue and their efforts and relentless time, all our task force, all our support is nothing but amazing.
Thank you, Regina.
It's an extremely difficult situation. Nothing's changed. As you see, we're dealing with inclement weather as I speak. But we keep moving forward.
No worries.
We keep looking for certain signs, specific things as we're checking areas, focusing on our grids, those rescue grids, as I mentioned so many times, the delayering process. Very, very difficult situation. But working collaboratively in a group, trying to attain that goal. And that's to save someone's life. It's been tough. I just want to emphasize that. It's been tough. You know, talking to our personnel, the spirits are high. You know, we're still moving forward. You know, we see the resources coming through. We're exhausting every avenue here. But it's a very, very dangerous situation. And I can't understate that. And so I appreciate all our efforts and all our support. And I just want to assure everyone that as a team, as a total team, between Miami-Dade Fire Rescue, Miami-Dade County, all our task force state assets, our federal assets, we're all working together collaboratively, hopefully for a positive outcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And I call upon Public Information Officer Erica Benitez so we can give the Spanish translation.
Oh, and the video yesterday too. FX, thank you FX for FSX 737 pilot sent me the video of there was somebody that had video inside of an apartment. I thought they were maybe trolling, but they were being legit. You can see it looks kind of creepy. I'm going to show you guys that too, where the whole place starts to shift and then everything goes out.
Muy buenas tardes. Como pueden ver, el tiempo y el clima no tiene clemencia. Cambiar de encontrar con vida.
Continue to work tirelessly with our government partners to really ensure a seamless service delivery for the survivors, as well as individuals that find out the news of their loved ones. So I would just encourage any survivor that we have not been able to make contact with, if you are living in the Champlain Towers, to please contact the Red Cross. You can contact us here locally, or if you're happen to be out of the area, please contact us, 1-800-RED CROSS, and they will get you to us here so that we can ensure that we provide the same level of services that we're providing here locally to you wherever you are. We have the fortune to be supporting roughly 17 to 18 families that are currently still here. And I will tell you, the resilience of those...
The garage video, is that the main video everybody's talking about where the building falls in on itself, or is that something else? Is that a new video that came out? If you have that, if you could send it to me, that would be good. If you could email it to me, iCkEdMeL at iCkEdMeL.com.
Those folks is nothing short of amazing. And just like the Chief was mentioning about the determination of first responders, that's what keeps us going. When you have these folks that we're serving who we know they're having the worst experience of their lives, are turning around and asking you, what can they do to serve their friends, their families, and even just what can they do to better support the Red Cross? It's nothing short of amazing. So I would just encourage anyone that's out there that we have not been able to make contact with, that was living in the building, to please reach out so that we can make sure that we get you the accesses that you need. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, if you guys could email it to me.
Thank you, Mr. Logan.
Or wherever it is that has it, email it to me. Leaking water and rubble everywhere just before the collapse. Wow, no. We're gonna have to check that out.
Bonjour tout le monde. Jean te connais, nous te décrété la permanence. Nous fait comme vivant avec 6
And we'll start off with CBS Corporate.
It's absolutely still a search and rescue mission. The signs are the same that they've always been. You know, we sweep with the dogs. We use our equipment, the audible sonar equipment. We will use video equipment that we will, possible at times, for drill to put through certain areas to look. Signs we look for is the voids, you know, any aspect. Again, with this type of collapse and what we're seeing in the debris, very difficult to move any of the large concrete slabs. We're seeing just they're pulverized underneath and crumbling as we're trying to move them. So that just compounds it. But that's what we're looking for. If we see a void space, if we find an area, we expand from there. We try to tunnel certain areas through there, not tunneling obviously through per se, but in certain aspects to see if we find something. So, definitely come across some aspects like that. And when we do, that's where we continue to move forward.
Thank you, Chief. Ma'am?
Yeah, thank you, Elaine. That's the video FX sent me yesterday via email. Somebody else sent me. Yeah, you guys could DM me on Twitter too. I have my Twitter open if you have some links.
So as you know, our process is to contact the next of kin, and so that's what we're working on at this time before we can reveal any details. Thank you.
Univision?
The Topos de Mexico, where's the mayor?
Oh, thanks, Lexa.
I'll say it in Spanish.
En inglés y después en español.
Included additional. Yes, in conversations with the mayor, we have included additional resources to assist. So Topos Mexico team, we make contact with them. They were supposed to be in the morning so that we can be credentialed, go through several things we have to evaluate. So as they go through, we have our FEMA incident support team who checks credentials and different aspects as well. Capabilities. Again, this is an extremely dangerous situation. And I know everybody wants to help, but we need to make sure we have the properly trained individuals to do the job that needs to be. But they'll be assisting in different ways in that particular group as much as possible.
But what exactly what you have to evaluate? Because there are very experienced people all over the world.
Well, that's where they just check the credentials. I mean, I don't know that group. That's what I've been saying from, where we are with our support. We have our state assets. We have our federal assets. And that's the goal in regards to these missions. This is how we deploy our task force units because we know the training. Definitely we'll utilize resources, but if everyone had the opportunity, everybody would be out there. Everybody would be out there. And that's the key. I can't overemphasize the risk that everyone's taking right now. Okay, and we all know why we're doing that. But, and that's just where it's critical. But yes, we are utilizing them to the best that we can. And we are very grateful for everyone's assistance.
Oh, Erica, we can answer this back.
Estamos muy agradecidos por estos recursos y esta ayuda que quieren brindar. Este es un proceso el cual tiene que estar muy organizado, el cual requiere mucha precisión.
Well, those sections, the sections I guess you're referring to probably was in the garage section. So those are certain devices that we put up and how we shore different components. So when we first arrived and on our initial assessment and where we started our search and rescue, those are components where, we made entry. We went into that very difficult situation, seeing if we had any location, any positive outcome. So that would be, I'm assuming, what you're speaking of, what you saw.
Thank you, Chief. Last question over here.
Yeah, for the logistics of the president's visit, if you can talk about the challenges, the weather, how's that going to affect everything as far as people getting in and out of not only this area, but just the SNR people as well?
We're very grateful that the president is coming. He's been showing support for this
Mr. Biden is coming tomorrow.
And we assure you that we have plans in place with the Secret Service and our federal partners that this operation will continue. I mean, we have been resilient. We've had several challenges from weather, sorrow, pain, and I think that the president coming will bring some unity here for our community, support like our governor, our mayor, all of us together, and it's a great message for the family, and we're going to get it done. That's not going to be a problem. Sí. Estamos muy orgullosos que el presidente viene. Su visita es muy importante para esta comunidad, como el gobernador, como la alcaldesa y todos los miembros del gobierno que han venido aquí a estar unidos para las víctimas y los...
That's it. Okay, so let's get on to some of the... Oh, okay, I see what this... Thank you for the videos, BL. Let's see. This is from a channel called Construction, Engineering, and Failure Analysis. So we're going to take a brief look at that. And I'll put the link to the channel if we check it out. This video is something I'm going to show too. This guy said, pool did not collapse. Deck has a huge added layer of rebar, lacks cover. This was 13 hours ago. All right, let me show you first a couple things I wanted to show you. Let me show you the one that FX sent me first. This one's kind of a little creepy. This is one of the residents of the condos on the side of the collapse. This is a video from my camera footage inside from the start of the collapse until the loss of connection. I was away from the building today. Towards the end, you hear the structure failing. Let me... Oh, wow. Bruh. It cuts out right there. Wow. So it cuts out pretty quickly, but you can see everything just kind of like start to shift. Creepy, huh? Let me open this up too right here. Let me show to the one that BL sent. Let's see, which one was it? This is from the Construction, Engineering, and Failure Analysis channel. Video of deck collapse from ramp view before the collapse. Close up.
Hey guys,
Here, Jacob gave us this link. Jacob, this is awesome. There's nothing here in audio here, but what you could look at is take note of the garage door is closed. That's the front of the. That's
Put the link to his channel. I guess they analyze different things on this channel, I think. Like different
north side of the building apparently, and the north side would be, and it looks like the deck is down.
Oh.
Okay, right there. There's a water flowing. It appears the deck is down. This part of the structure is still up. And there's the deck. The column's still in place. That says 5. I think it says 5. So you can track this down more. But there's the deck. So it sheared off the beam, or the part of the beam is down here with it. I would theorize the part of the beam is down here with it. In another few seconds, he would have quit the building falling down. A few moments. So let's go to the drawings.
Somebody said this was filmed and originally posted on TikTok by a woman staying at a hotel across the street. She apparently was at the hotel pool area with her family and saw and heard the deck collapse and started videoing the aftermath. This was supposedly taken at around 1:20 a.m., only a few minutes before the center section collapsed fully.
I believe he's here at this ramp looking in here at Northside. And I don't know how far if he's looking right about here, or is he looking right about here. There is a gate there, entranceway gate. Now, and the deck collapsed down. Wow. And someone said they were trying to bring the car in and there was water flowing and they couldn't bring the car in. I remember that in one of the statements. This could be the person that said that and videotaped it and not realizing that he's looking at the deck that's down on the ground.
I'm gonna put the link to his video in the comment section. I mean, description of the live stream.
Our ledger, ripped off the width from the ledger, if you will. And now the building is... So that gives us our time now. So it's down. Now we got a clock that runs for quite a few minutes apparently before the building collapses. So our deck is down. People making phone calls, and yet the building is still holding up because it's got some redundancy across here that's doing some holding. The guy on the first floor hears down here in the first apartment. He hears the loud bang. He leaves. I don't know he leaves which direction he leaves, but he leaves the structure. I can imagine he didn't leave this direction because I think that's the deck that's down. There's not another deck. So he goes out the other direction. And probably the next floor goes across all the way up. All right, so there we have it. Let's take a look at the video. And I wish we could see the beam, see the beam past there. It looks like something else to the left is gone. Let's take a look at it. There's no cracking presenting as he looked up. Right at the, it would be right there. It's pretty far in. It almost looks like it's past the column. The way it fell in.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I haven't seen that. It's the first time I saw that video. But I put his link in the description. I don't want to play the entire thing. You can go check out his channel. A couple of other things too. I wonder if there's any other videos I haven't seen. We saw the inside of the apartment. Let me see this real quick. Former maintenance staff was concerned about saltwater intrusion. Okay, we got a couple things to watch. Let me show you this whole Navy blast thing. Silvio sent this to me last night. And by the way, that guy's channel again, before we move on. I put the link in the description if you want to go check it out after. But let me just tell you the name again because I forgot. It's engineering analysis something. Construction engineering and failure analysis. You can go check that out. He's been doing, looks like, several videos on the topic. Okay, yeah. So you can check that out. Now this one is kind of interesting too. This whole thing, supposedly there was a Navy blast off Florida coast, happened a week before Surfside condo collapse. I don't think this really would have anything to do with it. If anything, it just still shows how poor condition the structure was. But I don't know. I mean, because the other buildings are fine. This one's down. I mean, are they just looking for all these little weird things to try to get out of lawsuits or accountability? I don't know. But definitely, you guys tell me down below in the comments what you think about this thing that came up.
A large blast off Florida's coast by the U.S. Navy is now sparking speculation about the Surfside condo collapse.
Many are raising questions about whether that blast may have contributed to the tragedy. Nicole joins us now with more on that.
Christy and Louis, the blast happened 100 miles off the coast of Fort Pierce, and now experts are weighing in on if it could have had anything to do with what happened in Surfside.
It was the blast that was seen around the world thanks to social media.
I didn't even know they did this. I didn't even know this happened. You know what I'm saying? There's so much going on. I didn't even know there was a blast that these people were doing. And why did they do this? Was it just some test or something? What's up with this? And supposedly I did see reports of like dead fish and all this stuff happening that were just, I think in Florida, coming up offshore. Did that have anything to do with it?
It was the blast that was seen around the world thanks to social media.
When I saw that, alarm bells kind of went off in my head.
A huge explosion by the U.S. Navy 100 miles off Florida's coast this month. A test of a new aircraft carrier.
Can't believe it.
Set off alarms for Kevin Hinkle of Fort Pierce.
Dolphins beaching themselves or whales beaching themselves.
The explosion has set off numerous theories, such as fish kills and the building collapse in Surfside. The blast did register a magnitude of 3.9.
And to discount that.
Building engineer Frederick Schaefer of the Schaefer Group in Stewart says the blast and faraway shockwave likely had no impact, since buildings built to withstand hurricanes can also withstand earthquakes.
On that basis, a building that was designed to South Florida standards should survive your average earthquake in California.
The weekend fish kill in Juno Beach has also been attributed to water temperature change. But environmental groups also point out the damage to sea life from the blast may be far out in the ocean.
Even what we would take to be a fairly large animal.
They're just out there somewhere. Who cares? All the fish in the world are dying. There's barely anything else to fish because of the way these people are fishing anyway, in masses, and the fish are dying in the nets anyway, and they're just throwing back in.
A dolphin is going to have a real chance of mortality if it's within 1 or 2 kilometers of the blast. And then going out 10 kilometers, you can see permanent hearing damage.
Damn, permanent
And this
hearing
blast
damage.
was not the last. The Navy says more tests are planned this summer off Florida's coast. And as you heard there,
Damn.
experts do not believe it had anything to do with the Surfside condo collapse. And I'm sure Christy and Louie, you guys have received some of those messages. A lot of people concerned if the blast had something to do with Surfside, and experts are saying it did not.
But certainly
The experts, the same experts that were and there was this crazy documentary. I'm not going to veer off too much now, but there was this crazy, and I normally don't watch this type of stuff, but there was like a fish documentary on Netflix. And Netflix, Seaspiracy. I was surprised with some of the things that I learned about that Seaspiracy thing. And I was surprised too to find out that dolphin safe crap on tuna or whatever means nothing. It's all BS. It's politics, and they pay people donating to certain people just to get the label and all that sort of stuff. I was like, what? You know what I'm talking about? You ever get tuna and it says, like, I think it says dolphin safe or tuna on the thing. Tuna, dolphin safe. And you actually feel good, like, oh yeah, like at least the dolphins are safe. It's bullshit. It's not true. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Dolphin safe. Man, I saw that. I was so surprised. And the whole plastic thing, not the plastic thing, the straw thing, that's all malarkey too. Oh, it's the straws. We got to stop using the straws because it's killing all the fish and all sorts of stuff. I think they uncovered that, like, it was mostly like the fish nets and just things being left out there in the ocean. It wasn't even really like the straw thing or whatever. I don't know. I saw that and I was blown away. I was like, holy crap. And just to find out all the stuff that's going on and how the oceans are being just wiped out of sea life and stuff. So, okay. The other thing too that I wanted to show, because now hopefully I have it here somewhere. Now they're inspecting like all the other buildings in the area. I think this was the 12th person too. Hilda Noriga. This is a really short clip.
Day 7 of the search and rescue operation in Surfside. 12 people are now confirmed dead. Among them, we just learned, is Hilda Noriga.
which now they're saying it's 16, but identified, I think it's 12.
Noriega, the mother of North Bay Village Police Chief Carlos Noriega. According to a statement the family put out, they were notified last night, and they thanked the hundreds of first responders who bravely risked their lives to locate their mother and the other innocent lives.
There was articles or thing somewhere that I wanted to share, but it's gone now. It's disappeared. Let's watch this one too then. This is just them working out there. This was like, I was looking at the rubble and I was like, look, it's just all small. It's like you don't even see, maybe they cleaned out the big stuff already, or maybe that stuff is under, I don't know, but I'm just looking at this and I'm like, it's just little small. Supposedly they've already moved, I know, 3 million plus pounds of concrete, I think. Oh, and that whole thing too with that documentary, the Seaspiracy, there was a whole thing too that like you can't snitch. They have like the inspectors to make sure like these people are following the guidelines of like not killing other fish or dolphin or whatever. And the people that have snitched, they've just disappeared. Like they like throw them off a boat in the middle of the ocean. You can't prove anything. I was like, yo, I was so blown away. I didn't know it was like this whole other crazy world going out in the ocean and all these things you thought were like regulations or the dolphin safe crap or whatever. It's really not. It's all politics, even in the ocean. That's crazy, man. Let me see if I can find another video. It's really a good video too. There was another video, but I can't find it now, where one of these people that were speaking at the press conference, she was talking about like they're looking at all these other buildings and they've already been examining and finding structural things that need to be updated and fixed, and like they're now looking at all these other places and noticing things that need to be fixed. Yeah, I want to get a drone one day too, hopefully. They do give you like a nice aerial shot. Damn, yeah.
Por este lado y vámonos a seguir patrullando por ese.
Oh, somebody gaming. Oh, I think this was it. This might be it. Oh, this is what I was talking about. I didn't realize I had it up. Miami-Dade building audit already spotting issues. Closer look follows Surfside condo collapse.
Miami-Dade County has ordered emergency inspections for hundreds of high-rises, and today, Mayor Daniel Ciraldo says one building with unsafe balconies has already been identified. Local 10's Laren Livingston is live with more on this. Laren.
Oh, that thing's
Louis, you'll recall that emergency audit order came down just a couple of days after the Champlain Towers South Condo building came down, and we're now getting a glimpse of what is now coming under the inspectors' microscopes.
We're taking swift action.
says Dade County Mayor Daniela Levine.
Oh, she's the mayor of Dade
to address
County.
any outstanding issues with buildings now facing 40-year recertification enforcement.
That's our priority right now.
The county says close to 470 apartment or condo buildings are currently tagged as unsafe, most of them 1 to 3 floors high.
And just last night, our building officer notified one of those properties, a building in Northeast Dade, that 4 balconies must be immediately closed to residents due to safety conditions.
When I was a kid, I used to always think about the balconies. I used to, when I would visit Louisiana, I was born in Louisiana, and I'd visit my grandmother, and she had this like rickety balcony. And I always thought about, because it was kind of shaky, I was like, imagine if this thing just came down. I'd always have like those crazy thoughts. But then in your head, you're just always reassuring yourself, like, there's no way this could happen. You know, it's a structure, the people who built this thing, it's been, you know, you just don't really think it's possible. But there's been stories like that, right? I think where the balcony just comes down with people.
Inspectors noted concerns with a first-floor steel column that supports 3 more outdoor patios at the Royal Oaks condos. The county says the condo has not yet provided recertification reports. The building is one of 24 listed here from across the county where violations or issues were found during their 40-year recertifications. All 24 are at least 4 stories high. The tallest on the list, 18 stories.
Damn.
The mayor's emergency audit zeroing in on those buildings specifically following Thursday's catastrophic condo collapse in Surfside. The county says every issue flagged was...
Bridges used to freak me out too in New York when I would go over these big ass, I don't remember which bridge it was. My father used to take me over these bridges. Sometimes my mother would take me too. And I would always have dreams about bridges or buildings like coming down, or I would have a dream of where I would jump off a building, but it was like fun. I'd jump off, come back down, and then go back up. It was weird. As a kid, I remember, and it was just a reoccurring dream. But then I've also had this weird, like, uncomfortable feeling of being inside these buildings. Because I used to be like in the Manhattan buildings, and sometimes you could feel it like kind of moving back and forth. One of my exes, she lived in kind of like a high rise too here in Florida, and you can feel the thing kind of shifting. One of the last times I was in that building, I remember that somebody got stuck in the elevator, and the elevators too were kind of old and rickety. And I just heard somebody scream, "Hey, hey!" So like I called 911, and the firefighters said they were already on their way and stuff, and a bunch of weird different things. I remember when I was when I used to work in a hospital too, and there was one time when I was on the elevator, like the service elevator, and out of nowhere, the lights went out, and like it dropped a couple of feet. It just went doosh, and the lights were out for a couple of seconds, and they came back. I was just like shocked, dude. I was like, what?
Not necessarily a structural issue, but outstanding issues nonetheless, which need to be corrected.
I know within a matter of days or short weeks, we will have addressed all of those safety concerns.
And keep in mind, again, the countywide audit only applies to buildings under the county's jurisdiction. Most cities are already beginning the process of determining their own audits because, as you can see, 18 floors in the county, much higher here on the coastline. For now, we're live here in Northeast Dade, Larry Livingston.
And I wonder, because I was talking with Sylvia too about this, like, all these buildings are getting old. You know what I'm saying? What happens after, okay, we got the 40-year recertification thing. And then after 40 years, I think I read, then it's every 10 years, just like this thing. And how long does that go? Is there a certain point where it's like, okay, when do they determine, eventually, especially with the South Florida conditions and the salt water, eventually it's like, okay, when is it like can they just keep repairing a building forever, or eventually do they have to like take the whole thing down? Maybe one of the experts or engineers probably know about that. But all these buildings are getting old, and it doesn't seem like people are really taking care of it. They just kind of want to keep pushing it to the side and collecting money. Nobody really expects these types of things to happen, just to come down like that. This one said shaking all the time. This is from yesterday. Surfside condo owners complained of luxury tower being built next door. I don't want to be in a tower. I don't want to be in a building. I wouldn't even want to work in a building like that.
I want to pull those pictures up again because those photos are really interesting. These were taken by, as we said, a pool contractor whom you know, named Mohammed Asani. I mean, to you know, those of us who are not structural engineers, this looks bad, but you, with your trained eye, are these red flags?
Yes, well, they're taken by a pool contractor. Dr. Asani is another structural engineer whom I know in the industry. The deterioration does look significant at that location. That's in the pool maintenance room. That is not in the area where the structure experienced collapse. But it is clear that water has been infiltrating the concrete deck in that area for some time, to the point of extensive corrosion at the underside of the slab or beam element. What's important, too, to understand is that there's reinforcing steel, not just at the bottom of our concrete slabs.
The audio is a little muffled. The most important things, the audio gets muffled. You ever have a conversation with somebody, and I know she's not doing it, it's on purpose, it's on Skype, but like they kind of mumble the most important stuff. You got to make, like, hey, can you repeat that? You ever had that? Like, some people do that on purpose. She's not doing that on purpose, so I'm just saying, like, most important thing you need to hear is muffled.
And that's something that we cannot investigate as engineers without removing these finishes.
But Stephanie, if you had been there as a structural engineer and seen what Dr. Asani had seen, would you have sounded the alarm?
In that specific location, no. It's one isolated location where we have a photograph in again, one location further away from the collapse area. That's not something that would be completely alarming to me. If that distress was observed throughout the entire structure, that's the point where it becomes extensive. That's the point where it becomes...
David said back to business after this is out of the press. It's probably true. I'm sure they'll probably go back to doing whatever, unless some other building comes down. Yeah.
Becomes concerning. So again, we're seeing
pouring outside right now. Oof.
These photographs, but they're very isolated photographs in the structural engineering report from 2018. We don't even know specifically where those were taken. So again, there is no plan view, say, of the pool deck area.
Though it seems like everything is still very preliminary. They're really going to have to probably, they hired that expert we talked about yesterday. They're probably going to have to like go and like actually examine the rubble and look at, I mean, I don't know what they would look at. Everything's still very, you know, could change, I guess. This woman here too, there's a story about a woman that she lost her father to COVID-19. I don't even know if I could say that anymore on the streams without them flagging the stream for something. And didn't get to say goodbye. Now her mother is unaccounted for in the Surfside building collapse. Oh man, let's check that out. Man avoids collapse. Oh yeah, we saw. Oh, he actually did an interview. This guy.
You know, it's one of those moments. On Thursday, the president and the first lady will be here, and they want to meet with people like you. Do you want to sit down and meet with them?
I would love to.
Tell them how you feel?
I would love to tell them how I feel, and I would like to stop this from ever happening again, because I feel like some very poor decisions were made, and it robbed me of saying goodbye to my mother. My father died in August of COVID. I didn't get to hold him. I didn't get to say goodbye. I didn't get to say goodbye to my mother. So I want a sense of accountability for that I'm hoping that the government does intercede to provide that.
I'm hoping so too, and it's totally understandable. The emotional moments you're going through. I didn't know about your dad, and obviously I'm so sorry, and my deepest condolences. As we always say, may he rest in peace, and may his memory be a blessing. It's heartbreaking for me to hear what you're saying as well. And I know it must have been difficult. I've spoken to many family members who were reluctant to go to the site and see, you know, the rubble and the pile and all of that. But you went. You wanted to be there.
I think it was.
It's true what some of you guys are saying in the comments. I mean, I just think about some of the places I've lived. Sometimes you can't even get the stuff repaired in the house. The things that they need to fix, that's on them. Let alone fixing a building and structural damage and maintenance. You can't even get these people to come in and fix the shit you need in the house.
Good for me, not easy. It was a horrible day yesterday, but it was good for me to process. And so I was there. It was horrible because some people process by yelling out the names of their loved ones. So as I'm there and I'm just trying to process the moment, you have people that are processing by yelling out like, you know, mom or son or their name and come out, we're coming. And you're seeing that what it was 100 and some foot building is now maybe 35 feet. You're seeing these heroes that they can be falling, they're crying themselves on top of the pile. You're seeing everybody hurting. And so it's difficult, but it was good to process. It was good to know, because it's better to know or feel that you know than not.
Sorry to hear that, Misty Blue. Misty Blue said I lost both of my parents suddenly with no goodbyes as well at different times.
I want to pull those pictures up again.
One was 59 and one was 61. It's awful not being able to say goodbye. I lost a parent too that I couldn't say goodbye to. It's kind of weird. It doesn't feel real. It still doesn't feel real to me. It just kind of feels like it never happened almost, because I didn't see it in person and I never got to say goodbye and stuff like that. So it's really weird. This is the guy. I didn't know that he did an interview. We spoke about him yesterday. This is the guy that avoided the condo collapse after the girlfriend requested him to stay with her. Oh, you better marry this girl, man. Let's see.
We're also hearing incredible stories of survival and twists of fate that saved lives of the residents who might very well have died in Thursday's building collapse. Eric DeMora lived in an apartment in this building for about 3 years. He should have been home on Wednesday night, but because his girlfriend, Fernanda Figueiredo, insisted he stay at her apartment, Eric is alive today. And Eric and Fernanda both join me now. Thank you so much for being with us. I'm so glad you're here. You know, it's a miracle in many ways. You stayed over at her apartment Wednesday night because of a soccer game, basically. Explain.
Yes, so that day there was a soccer match between Brazil and Colombia. We had some Colombian friends over, and
Seriously, Harvey. I was thinking about that. Honestly, I didn't say it yesterday, but when I was reading the Twitter thing, I really thought about that. Like, maybe he stayed over just for that. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of laughing a little bit, but yo, it could be.
Home, because I had some appointments in the morning, and I was right at her door, about to leave, and for some reason she just asked me to stay because one of her kids wasn't home, so we were gonna have a little date. Usually on Wednesday, we don't have that chance to spend time together. So I was very uncomfortable because my pants were wet, my clothes were all wet because I had to jump in the water to get a soccer ball.
Oh,
and I wanted to come home.
Yo, that's a really good. Sarah noticed that. She said, "Look at her shirt. Intuition, meaning of a superpower." So I guess she wore that shirt on purpose for the news. Wheezy and Stacey on case. I'm sorry to hear that about you guys' losses too. Yeah, I'm sure everybody has a different situation. My father was in a different country, and we were somewhat estranged. He it's kind of a long story, but yeah, everybody has something.
She lives very close to here, and I wanted to take a shower and sleep comfortably. But she kept insisting for me to stay, and when I woke up at 5:30 to check my phone, to set up my alarm to wake up for my appointment, I had some notifications telling me that the building had collapsed.
So that's how you found out. You woke up and checked your phone.
Yes, that's how I found out.
Messages from people asking what?
There was a message from friends, but there was one particular message that got my attention. It's from Rochelle, who works at the building, and her message was at 3:30 in the morning.
No, MP, I didn't see that.
Are you okay? And I got really surprised. Why is she texting me at this time and asking if I'm okay? That's when she sent me, I called her. She said, "Thank God you're alive." I said, what happened? The building collapsed. So you're half awake, half asleep, and somebody tells you that your home collapsed. A building in Miami, you just don't believe it.
So you wake up, and what does he tell you?
My building collapsed, everything gone, and I couldn't believe, because it's so unreal that a building like this is on the floor, and he could be there a few hours before. When he told me the building was collapsed, I imagined something different, like some accident, but not the building on the floor.
Ooh, and those nursing homes, yeah, it's kind of bad. Some of those nursing homes.
Before he stayed at home, And I can't believe another reason he'd be alive. It's God. God put their hand in that moment. He said, because it's so positive, you'll be here. I didn't give him options.
Every other Wednesday night, he would have gone back and slept in his own apartment.
Every day he comes back home. He wanna go back home. I said, you'll be still this night. And I asked in that moment, when in one Wednesday have a chance that you'll be alone? This is unusual, but many things that happen in that night turns facts, normal facts, be special facts, because his life.
You're here now because of her, in a way, and the Brazilian soccer team, just one more successful soccer team.
Yes.
Listen, you know so many people in that building.
For some, my first reaction after letting Fernanda know about the collapse was driving here. And for some reason, I come here like 2 or 3 times a day. In some delusional way, I think that they're gonna tell us to go back home.
Go back home, the building's going to be there.
Yes. We are in a hotel. All the residents, all the survivors, we are in a hotel on 92nd Street. And there's a lot of sadness, but there's also joy of the people who are alive. And a lot of pain because from all the people that are missing, we are friends with some of them.
Sure.
Some of them we saw every day. And even though we are not family, we saw those people almost every day. Some of them we chat, we join the pool and the beach together. So there's definitely a lot of pain at this moment. I'm very grateful to be alive, but very sad for the tragedy like everybody is.
What's it like to look at the hole where the building was?
Disbelief. I'm heartbroken. It's very painful to watch. It's very sad. Who could believe something like this could happen here?
Anywhere.
I'm from Brazil, and it happens once in a while. It wouldn't be such a surprise. But here, we brag about the law and how America is supposed to be fair. And in an area like this, even if it was somewhere else, but in an area like this, how could you imagine something like this happening?
Damn. Yeah, I didn't know he spoke out. I just read the article and I saw the tweets and stuff, but I didn't know
Daniel Wagner is
they did an interview, so it was interesting to see them. Family says they found grandmother's photos, birthday card in debris. Oh my God, yeah. It's not enough. Frustrated mom lashes out at Florida officials. Oh, I saw that. We saw that already. I didn't know CNN had all these little clips here at the bottom. It's kind of interesting. There's some things I didn't see. Okay, we'll take a break from CNN for a second because there was a couple other things I wanted to show you that I haven't even watched myself. This is the Israel Rescue Commander.
Now at 9, a look at the devastation left
More bodies found
behind from
overnight.
last week's condo collapse. This morning, a member of the rescue crew from Israel saying more bodies were found overnight. As of right now, we can confirm that 12 people have died. Dozens of people are still unaccounted for.
President Biden set to visit Surfside tomorrow as crews continue their search. 7's Elitza Bezios is live in Surfside with the new details this morning. Elitza.
Well, the is in Surfside as crews continue working around the clock, looking for life. Cars now also being taken from the site along with debris. Wednesday morning, the Israeli National Rescue Unit Commander, Colonel Golan Vok, with this update.
We found people. Unfortunately, they are not alive. We found some more tunnels, and we scrolled
at night in those tunnels. These tunnels that we found right now were almost the first to be big enough to enable people to stay between them. Most of the collapse is very, very tight.
You see that? He said most of the collapse is very, very tight, but there were some tunnels that they saw that maybe somebody could be or could fit in between. But like I was saying earlier, from when we saw that footage and the drone footage, like this guy was saying to the Israeli commander, that it's like most of the stuff is just really, really like tight, compact together. So it's like, you know, it's not good.
Rescue crews, knowing people are possibly surviving in these void spaces or elsewhere, is what keeps them going.
It's hard not to get emotional about this stuff, but it's hard not to put yourself in that situation, not to put yourself in the position that these families are in. We start thinking about it in that way, in that what would I do? How hard are we going to work to save our family members if something like this would happen?
At times, rain has slowed them down, and their health is being monitored. One first responder who appeared to be dehydrated taken to the hospital, but is doing okay. Despite challenges, they will not stop searching.
We're here hoping for that, that miracle.
Sadly, this morning, we've also learned one of those lost, Hilda Noriega, the mother of North Bay Village Police Chief Carlos Noriega. The family releasing a statement which in part reads, "The family would like to thank all the hundreds of first responders who bravely and selflessly risked their lives. The Noriegas have lost the heart and soul and matriarch of their family, but will get through this time by embracing the unconditional love Hilda was known for." And really, it was that unconditional love that Governor DeSantis telling us yesterday during a news conference. He explained that he met with the police chief yesterday, that unconditional love in her spirit that really, he said, guided the family to their successes. And he said that he was inspired hearing her story, and our hearts and love are with
Israel. I would think they would know a lot about moving fast and taking people out. This is one of the more New York articles. 16, at least 16 dead, 145 unaccounted for. Missing woman made phone call to her husband as Surfside condo collapsed. I think we've spoken about, we have spoken about this story. Mike Stratton, who was on a business trip, suddenly received a phone call from his wife back home in Surfside. Suddenly he heard his wife Cassandra speaking frantically about their oceanfront condo building trembling. It was around 1:30 a.m. Cassandra was standing on the balcony of their apartment on the 4th floor of the Champlain Towers South, overlooking the Atlantic Ocean. Little did they know then that it might have been the final words they would say to one another. Yeah. I think she's the model too, right? We saw this clip yesterday of her modeling and stuff like that. I think Cassandra told him she saw a sinkhole where the pool out of her window used to be, and then the line went dead. Bro, that is some creepy shit to see that and be standing on a balcony. I believe that was the model. I'm not sure. This is from the Jerusalem Post. IDF, we believe there are still survivors in the Surfside collapse. We got something here. Not loading. Let me see if this loads elsewhere. Real quick. It might be because of the blocking stuff. Oh, there we go. There we go. Apparently there's no sound though. Yeah, I know for some reason that clip doesn't have any sound. but it does have some visuals. I don't play, bro. Those the Israel forces. Damn, they're really working through. Looks like it's a mix though, mix of this we saw already.
The structural integrity of the Champlain condos has actually been studied before. Tonight, we have been looking at a report from 2018.
It found issues and documented them in some of the pictures you're seeing now. There's a crack that left engineers concerned. And then there's the interview we mentioned at the top of the newscast that Jim DeFede did about a history of ocean water intrusion. So Jim DeFede joins us live now. Jim, we want to start with the report. What can you tell us about it?
I think we saw this too.
So let's talk about this for a little bit. So we've been talking for the last couple of days about the 40-year recertification process. This building was built in 1981. At 40 years, 2021, it needed to undergo a recertification. All buildings in the county have to do that. Now, we had been under the impression that inspections related to that recertification process had been taking place over the last several months. But what we learned late last night, when the city of Surfside released more than 500 pages of records, is that actually began back in 2018. And in 2018, an engineer hired by the building to review what was going wrong with that building issued this report. And I just want to read you a couple of key points from it. And I want to tell you at the outset, again, this doesn't necessarily mean this is the reason the building collapsed, but this is going to be a significant issue because, again, as we've been saying, a lot of what seems to have gone wrong with this building occurred underneath the building in the lower floors that may have failed. So one of the things that this report in 2018 identified were problems related to the slab and the foundation around the pool area of the condominium. And I just want to read you a section from this. And it says, the failed waterproofing, because again, they're saying, the engineer is saying that this pool deck was built wrong and caused major problems. The failed waterproofing is causing major structural damage to the concrete structural slab below these areas. Failure to replace the waterproofing in the near future will cause the extent of the concrete deterioration to expand exponentially. So they were put on notice in 2018 that this was a serious concern, yet they had not hired, as of 2021, they had not hired anyone to begin attacking this problem. So 3 years had gone by. Now let me go to another area, because they talk about the garage, the substructure. Underneath the pool is also an underground garage, and they found serious problems. The engineer hired by the condo association found problems there as well. Again, to read from his report, abundant cracking and spalling. Spalling is when chunks of concrete come out from the wall itself. Abundant cracking and spalling of varying degree was observed in the concrete columns, beams, and walls. And though some of this damage is minor, most of the concrete deterioration needs to be repaired in a timely fashion. Again, that's 2018. What they found, though, was, what the engineer also found was that in the past, when they had tried to make repairs on some of these problems prior to 2018, those repairs were done in a shoddy manner. And here, let me again read from the report, because what they did was they said that they were trying to patch over some of these cracks and openings. And just to give you a little bit more information on concrete than you ever really wanted to know, what happens is the pylons, the concrete structure of this building, is wrapped around rebar. When that that concrete is broken, chipped, cracked, and that rebar is exposed, the rebar then becomes susceptible to salt water intrusion. You begin to get salt water into those metal fittings inside the concrete. And what that does is when water attacks those rebar, the rebar expands. It doesn't deteriorate, it actually expands and grows. And when it expands and grows, the concrete column that it's wrapped around cracks more, exposing more rebar. As a result, after more rebar is exposed to salt water, that then expands, cracking more concrete. This is a slow and deliberate process that can destroy a building over time. And what the engineer found when looking at the repairs that had been attempted previously, he wrote the following. The engineer's observations revealed that many of the previous garage concrete repairs are failing, resulting in additional concrete cracking. The engineer is convinced that the previously installed epoxy injection repairs were ineffective in properly repairing an existing cracked and spalled concrete. In other words, what they did was not working. Now, what does all this mean? So when you have a situation where you have all this water coming in underneath the building and the substructure being at risk, then the question becomes, where does the water come from? And that's when I got a call today from William Espinoza. And William Espinoza was the building superintendent from 1995 through 2000, he said. And this is part of the conversation we had, because he said that as soon as he saw this building go down, he thought about all the water he used to have to deal with in the garage structure. Let's play some of that sound now.
Anytime that we had high tides, away from the ordinary, any king tide or anything like that, we would have a lot of salt water come in through the bottom of the foundation.
Wow.
And we had a huge pit in the garage that would handle 2 pumps in there to suck that water out. But it was so much water all the time that the pumps never could keep up with it. So we always had to be replacing pumps, and the water would just basically sit there, and then it would just seep downward. You know what I mean? It would just go away after a while, and I would think, where did this water go? Because it had to go in through somewhere. I'm talking about a foot, sometimes 2 feet of water in the bottom of the parking lot. Wow. The whole parking lot.
And that's the underground parking lot, right?
Correct. And I mean, like I said, the cars would float. That's how much water was in there that would be floating around.
FSX, thank you for the clip yesterday. I played it earlier. I appreciate that.
In the parking lot, and I go, that's just a lot of water coming in here, and we don't have a way of getting it out.
There's some pictures that are associated with this report of, you could actually see cracks in some of the columns sort of opening up a little bit, maybe exposing rebar. Did you see things like that?
We had on the ceiling of the garage, I remember having some exposed rebar all the time. They would come and plaster it up with cement, and then it would reappear in other spots, but nothing like a real big, big cracks or anything like that. My biggest issue, it was just the water, the amount of water that would come in there.
It was salt water too. You were seeing salt.
It was all salt water, yeah, sure. It was coming from the ocean. I mean, I don't know how deep does that go, but it had to go through somewhere after the fact, because we couldn't get
that. And that's what I'm wondering about. I don't know how this stuff works. But like I've showed on the map, this thing is literally like on a little island. The whole Surfside thing, it's not even attached to Florida. It's like a little strip of an island, and there's bridges going out to this place, and that's how you get back and forth from what I've seen. And we were talking about the whole sinkhole thing and all that stuff too. I just wonder, did something else too under? I mean, sure, the construction stuff and the deterioration and the way it was built. But could have a sinkhole too. Just that's why I wonder if it's going to be even possible to find everybody, or was there suction into the sinkhole underground to the ocean? I don't know.
It pumped out.
And did you raise this issue with the condominium association or the building?
Yeah, they
Can you hear me?
They said that's always been going on for years prior, and the only way they were able to resolve this, it was just replacing the pumps and just keep pumping it out. But I go, it was an endless, every month we had a problem with this again. Water, and I go, this is just not normal. I mean, this is just too much water.
Now let me just make a
water and water, and I go, this is.
Hey, can you guys hear me on the mic? Is the mic out? Testing, testing. Let's see. Hear myself real quick. Hey, can you guys hear me on the mic? Is the mic out? All right, I do hear myself. All right. Just testing because the mic was being a little funny. I had to unplug it and replug it, and so sometimes when you do that, there could be an issue. But okay, it's working. And MP, you sent me the thing on Messenger. Okay, I'm gonna check that out.
Couple of very quick points. We reached out to the condo association's attorneys to see if they wanted to comment on what Mr. Espinoza said. They have not responded to our emails, voicemail, and text messages. The second thing I want to say is you heard a lot of conversation in that press conference about the North Champlain building built in a similar way. I asked William Espinoza if they were also having flooding in that north building. He said no. He said that north building's garage was never flooded the way they were experiencing flooding. And the last point, just to be absolutely clear, we are a long way from knowing the exact cause of what brought this building down. But more and more, that focus on what took place underneath that building, in the garage, around that pool area, with that structure, seems to be the focus of a lot of attention for investigators and will be in the days, weeks, and months to come.
That was a good clip. I think Elaine sent me that one. Thank you. I saw portions of this, but I didn't see the entire thing. That was pretty detailed. And so the North Tower is not the same as far as the issues that the South Tower condo was having. Maybe that's why people aren't as concerned that are in the other tower or condo. This was the clip that MP sent me to. This was New Jersey family narrowly survives Florida condo collapse. And there was like a few stories where people's, I guess, condos were like literally right at the edge of where the part ripped or collapsed. And I think yesterday and the time before we talked about the guy that was like, I think on the 7th floor, and the fire rescue had to come and get him with like a ladder to get him out because I guess there was no way for him to get out.
All right, we're learning much more information now about the missing mothers, the fathers, the daughters and sons, many with connections to our area, including Estelle Hedaya, who lived on the 6th floor of the building. The 54-year-old, originally from Queens, worked in the jewelry industry for years before relocating down to Florida about 6 years ago. And there's been an outpouring of prayers and well wishes on social media from her friends in the jewelry industry. Her parents right now live in Brooklyn. Linda March also recently moved to Florida. The 58-year-old is a lawyer and former administrative law judge at the City Environmental Control Board. And according to her LinkedIn page, she specializes in representing building owners, contractors, and developers who run afoul of city codes and regulations. And her family of 3 from Brooklyn, also among the missing, Chaim Rosenberg and his daughter Malki, seen right here, plus his son-in-law who's not pictured. They recently moved down there from Flatbush. But there's one local family that has a harrowing story to tell. Narrowly surviving this disaster, the Agueros from New Jersey were vacationing in Florida when the building collapsed right around them, and it was a race against time to get out. News 4's Brian Thompson talked to them. He joins us now live from North Bergen with the details. Brian?
Yeah, and they lived in this mid-rise condo complex right behind me here in North Bergen. But the story they have to tell is one of narrowly escaping death from that abyss down in Surfside. You can't hear this deadly collapse Thursday morning, but you can hear how survivors reacted. Jeanette Aguero was in bed with her husband, her daughter in the living room.
Oh, yeah, I remember this family.
He woke me up. I don't think I've ever felt him grip me quite as hard as he did. I panicked when I felt the building sway back and forth. At the very least, the ceiling was going to cave in on top of us because there was no way that the walls were going to hold up the roof.
This is where the family condo was, on the 11th floor, just feet away from.
I saw their interview, but I didn't see the outside of their condo and what it looked like. That's nuts. And so there's people like this where the building came down and there's portions of it still left up. And that's crazy. The other thing too, Sylvia was telling me, he was like, have they checked all these side buildings where things were ripped? Like if there's any survivors, if there's people stuck under something, if something collapsed on somebody and they're just stuck in between in one of these condos that are still up? I wonder.
Peril on the edge of death, firemen yelled to get out.
We need to get out of here because we don't know how long we have before the rest of it comes down.
basically we're racing time before the rest of it comes down. We need to get outside.
So they took to the stairs on the other side of the building.
I don't think I've ever done stairs that fast.
Mom heard a noise from a stuck fire escape door around floor 6.
I ran into some people shouting, help us,
You
the
see?
door's jammed. Can you please help us open the door?
One more chance for this family to help someone else. An 88-year-old woman struggling down the stairs ahead of them, ready to give up. They wouldn't let her.
I'm 88 years old. I've lived a good life. This is it for me. I really don't want to go. I was like, no, you're going to make it to 89. You're going to be okay. Yes, it was kind of good.
There was rubble everywhere at the bottom.
So my son and I picked her up, and he pulled her while I pushed her to get her up to 3 feet.
This 40-year-old condo complex was a lush paradise just 2 days ago. The Aguero family frequent visitors. Now it is 12 flattened stories of purgatory. A search still on for survivors. Family patriarch Albert Aguero back in Hudson County telling me.
And people that we used to see them getting on the elevator, I know they're dead.
But the Aguero family is alive. Their living room, the last standing room before total collapse. Their second home for years, now a traumatic memory of survival.
I honestly don't know if I'll come back. I might, but can't say I will.
That's crazy. That's got to be wild as hell. Just probably full of adrenaline, trying to get out, running to take the stairs. Fact. By the yeah, I played that video earlier. And I put the link in the description for people that want to see that to go watch that full video so they can check that out. Okay. Real quick, let's talk a little bit about, or I want to play a video for you guys. Let me see if I can pull them up because I showed this in Discord. So yesterday there was a whole thing about Evelyn, sorry, message. There was a whole thing about John McAfee. Okay, people kept coming in the live stream. I didn't understand why people were talking about John McAfee or McAfee. Sorry, I'm saying it's McAfee. I should know that, McAfee. And they kept referencing John McAfee with this collapse thing. And they kept coming in. I'm like, what is going on? Why are they talking about it? And so apparently, for those that don't know, they allegedly say that this guy committed suicide. Allegedly. And I'm going to play a little clip because this guy did a nice coverage. I like this channel. Hopefully he doesn't claim the video, but if he does, that's okay too. Let me put this on the screen so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And so this guy supposedly allegedly killed himself. This guy, John McAfee, this guy's a legend, okay? This guy, he created the antivirus. I remember back in the day, anybody that's into computers, you don't even have to be in computers. Anybody that's ever owned a computer back in the day, I think the antivirus still exists now. He was the creator of that, and he just, there's a whole story behind it. Maybe one day we'll talk about it fully, but this guy has a lot of money. He sold the company, I think billions, I thought.
So on June, watch this here.
Let me play. I have to play this in a smaller window, but let's see where's a good place to start. This guy interviewed John McAfee, and the interviews are all over the internet. There's been multiple people that have interviewed him. JLP, one of my favorite content people, has interviewed him as well.
Upstairs, if you want to go before you start the meeting, you want to have a good time, you can go upstairs and then come down and do your prostitute.
And this guy was like into drugs, prostitutes, everything. The interview that he did with JLP, he was drinking. He was drunk as hell when he did the interview.
They're carrying the AK-47. Have a drink with us. Hey, what's up? I'm like, do I want to have a drink? Yeah, come on in. They're carrying the AK-47. By the way, if you want, there's 5 prostitutes upstairs. If you want to go before you start the meeting, you want to have a good time, you can go upstairs and then come down and do your interview. I said, listen, I appreciate the offer. Thank you for your hospitality.
So right now he's talking about when he went to go do an interview with this guy. Guy's super paranoid. He gets there. There's guys with guns, AK-47s, everything. And when he comes in, the hospitality they offer him is like, oh, you want to have some drinks? And we have some prostitutes upstairs or whatever. This is going to take you into why people were mentioning this man with the whole Surfside collapse. So just give it a second. but there is fact checks and saying that the tweets were not real, supposedly, and that it's a fake story. But this is why people were mentioning this guy. So just give it a second.
Maybe ask the guys out there, but I'm totally fine. No problem. If you still want, you can go upstairs. I'm like, I'm going to be okay. I'll be fine. Anyways, we do the interview. He comes in. John's coming in. When he comes in, you hear the sound. Garage is coming up. Like something very, very loud. He comes in. We sit down. We do the interview. If you watch this here, this is John. Next to him, he was having a drink. He was smoking cigarettes while we're doing the interview. That's a gun right there. And here's what happens 43 minutes into the interview. Someone knocks on the door. This has never happened in my life when I interview people. Watch what happens right here. This is pretty random.
50 different options. Even direct flights from Hong Kong to Ecuador. Why the heck
somebody knocks
is
on the
he
door
going through Russia?
The guy comes out, takes out the gun.
So it's hard for me to say, is it good? Is it bad? I don't have all the facts, and neither do you, and neither
goes back. So now I'm listening to him talk while I'm looking, seeing what's going to be happening to my right, seeing another guy run up. All these sounds you're hearing behind you, obviously, this was a very highly skeptical, paranoid, semi-schizo, which he even himself said, some people say I'm extremely paranoid.
This dude is wild. He's like infamous or legendary. This dude is wild.
I'm extremely paranoid.
Check out some of his
interviews.
interviews.
In many different interviews.
John McAfee.
And then when we left, very nice, very amicable. We took off. We did our thing. The interview went live. And now it's got many views and a lot of people are commenting on it. Look, before I get into John's tweets, which a couple of them are quite controversial, let me kind of give you an idea how he got here. Number one, he's in Belize, living in Belize at one point, and he has a dog that's barking really loud. The neighbor gets upset, says, listen, you got to kind of tell your dog to be quiet. John's like, he can do whatever he wants to do. The neighbor gets upset, takes a piece of beef, throws it over, poisons the beef. The dog eats it, dies. John comes home, sees the dog, loses his mind, hires somebody, comes and kills the neighbor. The neighbor's found in a pool full of blood. John escapes. Not much happens there. Tax evasion issues that he has. Tennessee owed $4 million of taxes they say he avoided because he said in 2018 or 2019, I haven't paid taxes for 8 years because of ideological differences with the IRS. I shouldn't have to pay taxes. And then he had a crypto pump and dump issue that took place. Anyways, it's a very interesting character we're talking about here. This is not a normal human being in a normal life that he lived. This is a story from the Sun, just kind of showing you who he was. This is himself with the guns. He liked guns. He liked prostitutes. He likes drugs. He liked partying, hardcore. This is a video he did, which is a very, very strange video on YouTube. It's got like 10 million views.
Crazy video.
Anyways, he liked women. He partied hardcore. If this guy was 35 years old today, he'd be one of those guys with 20, 30 million followers. You can pretty much see what's going on here. This is him talking about the fact that the government tried to poison him and kill him. I'm more difficult to kill than anyone else can even possibly imagine. Anyways, all of this stuff leads to his tweets. This is one of his tweets that just came out that people are.
So this is going to tie us back into this. You just got to give it a second. But this great presidential candidate. But this will tie us back into the Surfside thing. It's super weird, but for the people that are confused or don't understand, this guy from Valuetainment, which is a great channel, you should check it out. He's interviewed people from the CIA, mafia people, Sammy, I forgot the guy's name, Sammy something, mobster guy from, I think, New York, Italian, whatever. Good channel, amazing content. There's something for everybody at the Valuetainment channel. Valuetainment.
Talking about there's no way he would have killed himself. Getting subtle messages. This tweet is from November 30th, 2019. Getting subtle messages from the U.S. officials saying, in effect, we're coming for you, Mike McAfee. We're going to kill yourself, meaning we're going to kill you, but it's gonna you killing yourself. It's
he did. You're right. Correct. He did run for president 2016 or 2012. He ran for not 2016. That was Trump. Right, Trump. 2012 is probably right. He did run for president. He talked about that. He said that he was just trying to get the message across about cybersecurity and all this kind of stuff too. But he did run. Sammy the Bull. Thank you, Xavier. Sammy the Bull. Crazy ass interview. Really good interview.
I'm gonna kill you. I got a tattoo today just in case. If I suicide myself, I didn't. I was whacked. Check my right arm. Whacked. Here's another tweet. Because in October of last year, 2020, while he's in Barcelona on his way to Istanbul, he gets arrested in Spain. They take him to jail. Right afterwards, he sends this out saying, I'm content in here, jail. I have friends. The food is good. All is well. Now that if I hang myself a la Epstein It will be no fault of mine. Okay.
October
Then he has
2020.
this tweet that comes out and resurfaces from June 9, 2019. I've collected files on corruption in government. For the first time, I'm naming names and specifics. I'll begin with a corrupt CIA agent and 2 Bahamian officials coming today if I'm arrested or disappear. 31 terabytes of incriminating data will be released to the press. Now, when you look at this, you have 2 sides to look at. Let's say he is right. He has those 31 terabytes. A lot of data on government officials. That could be pretty ugly.
Which is a lot. That's an insane amount. 31 terabytes. I can't even imagine how we'd even store that. Like how many? I wonder what's the biggest hard drives they have. I'm sure maybe they have. I'm sure they have terabytes. I know, but terabytes is 1,000 gigabytes. I think, right? I guess terabytes is not that big. I guess. Well, I mean, it is, but I guess nowadays with the technology,
especially with campaign, election, all of that stuff that you got going on, nobody wants that to be seen.
Do I have
the
a terabyte
other part of it is
on
also
computer?
he's bluffing. What is bluff? There's an old fable about a psychic who hooks up with a king's daughter. The king loses his mind.
I do have a terabyte. Maybe it's not that big anymore. I'm thinking back in the day. Though one of my hard drives is well, I can't zoom in on it, but I think I have a terabyte hard drive, just one of them. But I have several hard drives.
All the soldiers to go kill the psychic. When the soldiers go to the psychic and they say, "We're here to kill you," the psychic says, "Before you kill me, I had a vision last night that has to do with the king and it has to do with his life. I have to tell him this or else he's going to die." They're like, "What are you talking about?" The soldiers talk and they say, "Let's at least tell the king and see what the king wants to do." They tell the king, king's like,
We're almost done with this portion. Just taking you guys to understand the whole
the
conspiracy
psychic
thing.
comes to the king. He says, "King, I have to tell you, I apologize for getting together with your daughter. She's beautiful. However, the vision I had yesterday is that you, king, are going to die a day after I die." Which means what? If you kill me, you're dying tomorrow. So the king's like, back in the days, it was all like psychics knew what they were talking about, and people were very superstitious. The king's
Miami Tree, can you tell me which video you're talking about? Are you talking about the main video where we see the building falling down?
like, "Listen, we better take care of this man. He brings a psychic in. He lives in the palace." Obviously, it's a fable, but you get the idea. Is John playing that game? Hey, leave me alone. Don't bother me. Don't touch me with my taxes because I have stuff on you because I'm such a good hacker. Is he doing that? No one will know what card he's playing here. He may or may not have it, but this led to a story. After John passed away, allegedly suicide, and this is what the story went viral. There's a tweet
this is the
that
thing
they're
right here.
showing and claiming that he tweeted out, says, "If anything ever happens to me, please know that the 31 terabytes of files I have are located on hard drives in my condo near 88th Street and Collins Avenue, just north of Miami Beach, which is the building that just came down, and there's 9 people dead and 150 something people missing." The conspiracy theorists ran with this, saying, "Oh my gosh, it's government's job. It came down, they got the files. Now nobody can get their hands on the 31 terabytes. This was so viral with people being curious about it that AP did a story saying that never happened. He never owned a condo, and there's no tweet as such of him sending it out on June 8th. So I go and take a look at his Twitter account. And if you go look at his Twitter account, you go to June 8th, there is no such thing as these tweets. The only things you'll find on June 8th is one he's talking about have 1 million followers and no one's really bothering to look at it, and another one about Bezos. There's nothing else on June 8th. Now, the conspiracy folks will say, well, Twitter can delete it. I highly doubt they did that. So AP debunks that and they don't touch it. It goes to a completely different place. Anyways, this goes to a bunch of different places, all these other things. And then Janice McAfee, his wife, sends out a tweet talking about on Father's Day, June 20th, the fact that they don't want to do anything with this guy. The government is so corrupt. The U.S. authorities are determined to have John die in prison to make an example of him for speaking out against the corruption within the government agencies. The media continues to vilify.
So that's kind of just the gist. That's where the whole conspiracy thing came from. I haven't examined the image myself that close. I mean, you would really have to take a close look. But they say it's not on his Twitter anymore. And that's why people were saying the whole conspiracy. Oh, well, that's why the building was purposely blown up for John McAfee, so he doesn't expose the information, and that's what people are running with. And so I just wanted to explain that that's where that whole conspiracy or theory came from. I'm looking real quick. There's nothing like that at all. I mean, I'm not saying that Twitter couldn't have deleted it, but it seems to be a conspiracy And that's where that came from. And yesterday was crazy. There were so many people coming in and commenting. I had no idea what people were talking about. That's where the conspiracy came from. Leonard said I have 12 terabytes for music. Damn, that's a lot of music. I couldn't do that no more. I'll just streaming services. This is a bit of the layout. Okay, let's take a quick look. Some of the layout. They still have we're almost at 2 hours. I have one. We saw that already. I have, I think, one more video or 2 more videos. Yeah, I think that's 2 more videos. But floor by floor, this is from the New York Times. The missing people and lost lives near Miami. In the early hours of June 24th, the 13-story beach condo partially crumbled in a thunderous, smoking billow of waves. Yeah, and by the way, Miami Tree, if you have something, you can either email me or send it to me. Do you have a subscription to the Times? Yeah, I signed up yesterday. I was just so annoyed because they kept telling me my IP address. I've used the webpage too many times, and so I just signed up to the New York Times. I have a VPN, but I don't want to stream on a VPN, so I just signed up with them for now, you know. But this is like a layout. There's an upper penthouse. Section did not collapse. This is okay. So that's the upper penthouse. This is. Can I get a closer look? Penthouse. Linda March missing. Linda March, an attorney, is missing. Richard Augustine and his friend Elaine Sabino, a flight attendant, lived here. Elena Blasser and her mother, Elena Chavez, are missing. 11th floor, resident was away. Oh, wait. Okay. So there's a confirmed dead. Missing is orange. Resident safe is like tealish. Status of resident unknown. So there's people that they don't even know about. Status of resident is unknown. Missing. 3 people missing here. Unknown. What's the status? Unknown status. Resident was away. Michael Altman was confirmed dead. That's the 11th floor. It's the 10th floor. Residents were away. Stacy Fang, we've spoken about her and saw her image. Confirmed dead. Her son was rescued from the rubble. If you guys remember that first stream where the kid, I think he's a teenager, was pulled out, they were on the 10th floor. Missing. Sofia Lopez Morea, a sister of the First Lady of Paraguay, is missing, along with her husband, Luis Pettengill. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Their children and their nanny, Lady Vanessa and Luna Vilabala. I might just say the first name. Juan Mora was visiting his parents. Juan and Anna Mora from Chicago, missing. Claudio Bonifay and Maria, missing. Status unknown. Confirmed dead. Antonio Gladys and Lozano. This was a really good article. I mean, I guess it's worth the subscription. They did a really good mapping and imagery of the building and a listing. I wonder how long it took to put this together. This is a good article for the families to have too, maybe. A cousin said Bonnie and David Epstein are missing. Epstein. Gil and Betty Guerra lived here and have been planning to move away soon. Oh man, imagine that. Melgay Delgado missing. This is the 9th floor. We got missing, 1 confirmed dead, missing. Status of residents unknown. 8th floor. Andres, Fabian, and their 6-year-old daughter had just arrived for a visit from Buenos Aires. So they're missing. Louis and Nicole Langsfield are missing. I heard of those names. Marcus Guerrera was confirmed dead. His wife and 2 young daughters are still missing. Ooh. Jesus. Manuel Lafont, we saw that guy too. A devoted father of 2 was confirmed dead. This is the 8th floor. Deborah and Lane were spending just one night in a condo owned by her family. Both are missing. Just spending one night. Deborah Berediven's family also owned this unit. Oh, okay. So they own 2 units there. The 8th floor. The 7th floor, status unknown, missing. 2 confirmed dead on this floor: Sofia Lopez and Luis. Ana Ortiz and her husband Frank Kleeman and her son, 26-year-old Luis Bermudez, were confirmed dead. Wow. 6th floor, Judy Spiegel is missing. Her husband was not home. Unknown status. Resident escaped. Resident safe. Oh, wow. 6th floor resident escaped. Wow. Status of residents unknown. And the further down you go, let's see. Missing. Alfredo Leon and Lorenzo, his son is missing. There's kids here missing. Parents, mothers, fathers, grandparents. Graciela and Gino Catarossi, as well as 2 of their daughters and 1 granddaughter, are missing. So the further down you go to, it's like the less confirmed dead, which these people, I guess, are probably the furthest down, I guess, because it looked like the way it came down was from the bottom, like it fell in on itself. So the bottom is in further down, I'd assume. And from the way this is structured, there's no confirmed dead so far, the lower you go. Marina Asman is missing. On the phone, Cassandra. Oh, this is the Stratton one, the lady that we just talked about and we saw. The building was shaking, then the call cut off. The status of these people are unknown. The 3rd floor, no confirmed dead here either. Missing. Teresa Velasquez was visiting her parents, Julio and Angela Velasquez. They're missing. This resident was away. Arnie Notkin, a former physical education teacher, and his wife Miriam are missing. I feel like the Notkin family we heard about. I think that was where the calls were ringing to their grandkids, I think, or to their kids. I'm not sure, but it was just like static and stuff on the other end. Excuse me. The Patel family, who were expecting their 2nd child, lived here. Ricky and Maria Teresa Rovarisa are missing. Status unknown. Yeah, the further down you go, these lower floors, there's no confirmation of dead people, and these are just missing. Ray and Mercy Urgelis are missing. Louis Barth, Catalina Gomez, and their daughter Valeria were visiting from Colombia. Harry Rosenberg was hosting his daughter and son-in-law, who were visiting from Brooklyn. Damn, yo, so many people were just visiting, stopping by, visiting, and this whole situation happened. The 1st floor. Oh, so the 1st floor, somebody actually escaped. Resident escaped. And these are unknown statuses. So I'm thinking these lower floors are way deep inside, wherever it went. It's not up until the 6th floor where they have a confirmed dead person and a resident escaped. And then there was a 3rd floor somebody escaped to. Oh, resident was away with this one. And resident escaped. Wow. Yeah, this is a really good article. That one of the best ones. The Miami Herald had a really good one too. Who put this together? By Lauren, Karthik, Evan, Albert, and Eleanor. You know, it took several people. This was a great article. Yeah, the Notkins were making the phone calls, right? Well, I don't even know what's going on with that, but yeah, they were getting phone calls. It was just static. Really good article. Let me play this one here too. Survivor talks about losing his home of 20 years and he's suing the condo association.
As loved ones continue to hold out hope that their relatives will be rescued alive, we're learning more about that unimaginable moment when the tower came crashing
Life
down.
alert. Yeah, you guys
from
did say that. Maybe it was a life alert type of thing.
Those who managed to escape with their lives.
Other people are coming out on the balcony now, and one lady above me, she goes, the back of the building collapsed. I go, the back of the building collapsed. Now we're all sitting there freaking out. When is the front of the building collapsed? We're stuck on the balconies.
This was the guy I think that was stuck on the 7th floor. I think.
Movie. News Nation's Rudabeh Shabazi joins us live from Surfside. Rudabeh, it is all too real. You spoke with one man one-on-one who lost everything.
Yeah, Steve Rosenthal lost his home of more than 20 years, his car, everything in it. Now he's mourning his friends and neighbors who have passed away, those who are still missing. And he's also angry. He has nothing now, and he's already suing his condo association.
I heard the loudest thunder clap I ever heard in my life, times 100. Times 100.
This is what Steve Rosenthal saw when he tried to escape his condo in the middle of the night.
Wow.
Open up the hallway, see what's going on. Can't see anything. Just toxic dust just smacks me in the face.
Oh, you know what? Sorry, let me get a bigger screen so you guys can see it too.
When he
times 100. Times 100.
This is what Steve Rosenthal saw when he tried to escape his condo in the middle of the night.
Open up the hallway, see what's going on. Can't see anything. Just toxic dust just smacks me in the face.
He heard his neighbors screaming for help as he waited for an hour to be rescued from his 7th floor balcony.
Not good, huh?
The bruise.
Thank you, Spicy. Oh, you've been a member for 2 months. Thank you for making it to this.
Welcome to the dark
It's
side.
a little awkward. I don't know why it's doing that now. Every time somebody makes it an extra month, it's doing like a thing, which I guess is kind of cool, but.
Bruises on his arms tell the story. Firefighters carrying him down in a cherry picker.
You know, you have certain events that happen in your life. Like if you were at 9/11, you're going to remember that forever. This is something I remember. To me, this is a mini 9/11 Miami style.
The Champlain Tower was his home for 2 decades. And when it came crumbling down, so did everything he owned.
Everything. I got nothing.
His next door neighbors confirmed dead, and 150 of his friends and neighbors missing.
As sad as this is, it's going to be hard to find some people alive right now. It would truly, truly be a miracle. I think it's a miracle that I'm alive, but if they find somebody alive right now, that would just be an amazing miracle, and I pray to God they do.
As new information has emerged about the warning signs and red flags about structural damage, Rosenthal is among the first survivors to sue the condo association. Now at 72 years old, he has the clothing on his back.
You want to have a lunch with us?
And the generosity of his community
I appreciate it.
and strangers.
I'm never going to forget it. I mean, how can you forget this?
And Adrian, you heard him mention that toxic dust he inhaled. He has throat problems already. So he told me he went and saw a doctor about his throat issues. And the doctor said, really what you have to worry about is PTSD.
I mean, you've heard so many times people saying that it reminded them of 9/11. And while we know in one sense that's incomparable, at the same time, you're saying you'll never forget what you were doing when you found out about this story or if you lived through it.
There was, let me show you this quick article too. Just one of the more recent updates. Oh, there's actually a video for it too. They're moving the rubble. Some of the debris from the collapsed Surfside condo is being brought to a warehouse so engineers can test the concrete and figure out why the building came crashing down. But not all of it is useful. That's presumably why so much of it is being dumped in a grassy field 10 miles away from the site of the Champlain Towers South. It's let's see where this is. A grassy field at the intersection of I-95 and Florida's Turnpike in the northwest Miami-Dade. The rubble is, oh, I'll get you bigger. The rubble pile is mostly concrete, but it also includes clothes and other personal belongings of the condo residents. See what that looks like.
Now back to our team coverage of the condo collapse. Our crews capturing dump trucks there today.
And they were removing debris from that area. Let's turn over now to Local 10 News reporter Madeline Wright.
And she is live in northwest Miami-Dade, where the dump truck's headed after leaving the scene. Madeline.
Christy Janice, some of the debris is being brought to a warehouse so that engineers can test the concrete strength and determine why.
Yo, Miami Tree, or is anybody out there locally? Are they blocking people from entering? Like, do you have to be like the media with credentials and like a resident to enter the area? Because it seems like they've just restricted that area from what I heard.
The building collapsed, but not all of the debris is needed or useful. That's presumably why it's being brought here to this grassy field 10 miles away from the collapse site. Sky 10 video shows an excavator sitting on top of a huge pile of rubble near the intersection of I-95 and Florida's Turnpike in northwest Miami-Dade. The rubble came from the condo collapse site in Surfside. All day long, dump trucks in groups of 4, followed by a police escort, brought the debris to this grassy field near the Golden Glades. 2 badly damaged cars filled with concrete are sitting a few yards away. The pile is mostly concrete, cinder blocks, and steel rebars, but it heartbreakingly includes clothes and other personal belongings from the residents of the condo. Police haven't said why they're bringing the debris here, but it's possible it's just to get the debris out of the way until it can be disposed of at a later date.
Fact, I'm not gonna say fact. I heard that too. I heard people saying that supposedly they were, you know, kind of standing around or something. I don't know if that's true or not, but I did hear people saying that. Let me see if there's any other little updates before we head out. See what else we can pull up.
For the 7th day in a row.
24 hours a day, we have over 200 task force members. Non-stop, around the clock.
Let's see what else we
Crews
got.
already pulling more than 3 million pounds of concrete from the collapse site as families and rescuers cling to hope for a miracle.
When somebody's missing in action in the military, you're missing until you're found, and we don't stop the search.
Alongside the now massive search efforts, a probe for answers into how this tragedy could have ever happened.
It's the worst non-hurricane related tragedy in the state of Florida in its history.
Miami-Dade State Attorney announcing she'll ask a grand jury to investigate the deadly collapse. These pictures, obtained by the Miami Herald, were taken by a pool contractor just 2 days before the condo collapsed. The contractor, who told the paper there was standing water all over the parking garage, also noted there was cracking concrete and severely corroded rebar under the pool. A condo association rep declining to comment to the Herald on whether they were aware of the pool issues noticed by the contractor.
Did you ever see any warning signs that something could have gone wrong?
Tyson said another fellow I've been watching has been keeping up with the air traffic. I saw somebody yesterday. It like popped up. Maybe because I've been searching all these things, it popped up, and there was a guy that's been doing a lot of coverage. Like, and I saw that he had. I didn't even know you could do that. You can connect to like I think it was helicopters or something. If I'm thinking of the same guy, and you can see like aerial footage and stuff like that. But I guess that's it for today, man. Did 2 hours. I really appreciate you guys coming through. If you have anything else to say in the chat, we could talk about it. The weather has been pretty bad, man. I mean, it's been raining a lot. There's been a lot of thunder. Okay, he was doing a good job. He's like really professional, it seems like. And I don't know. You know, I don't want to say too much of my thoughts and opinions, like anything too negative, because I don't want to, people that are holding on to hope, to take that away or anything like that. But obviously it's not looking good. The longer and longer. I was kind of wondering. I wonder real quick too. Let me see if I could pull up some sinkhole stories real quick. I mean, we've done it a few times, but I was just kind of sinkhole, Florida. What happened? There's a couple of. I was reading a little bit about yesterday. I was somewhat fascinated, and it's kind of like. They talk about the soil and the limestone and like how it happens and stuff like that. Maybe I could play this video. This is from Tampa Bay. 2 minutes long. It's a quick video. I wanted to find some actual stories. Let's see. Play a little bit. Thank you, Robin. Appreciate the super chat. Thank you. Thanks for showing us the NY Times 4x4 schematic. Yeah, no, thank you.
To explain
yeah, some of those articles I would say is pretty good. I usually don't sign up to stuff like that, but the New York Times, they've been doing really good, and Miami Herald, they've had some really great articles that's probably worth signing up for.
To us, because I had the question, I'm sure others at home did. Why are we not calling it a sinkhole? There's depressions, sinkholes.
Right. You think
between the two,
sinkhole
though.
is just kind of a common term. It's actually a really specific definition for what it takes for a sinkhole to form. It all has to do with the general makeup of the ground beneath our feet. The Florida Peninsula is actually a plateau of limestone. Several thousand feet thick that formed actually millions of years ago when the area was a warm, shallow sea. Kind of cool, huh? If you got a minute this morning, I'll explain why all this makes a difference. The three layers we're looking at here are limestone, followed by clay, and then a sandy soil on top. The layer of clay generally keeps the water from seeping through to the limestone bedrock below, but in some parts of Florida, that protection has worn away, exposing the porous limestone. When it rains, the already slightly acidic rainwater becomes even more acidic as it moves through decaying plant debris in Florida's sandy soil. The rainwater will make its way to the limestone, and it's then able to percolate through it. Over eons, this acidic water dissolves and carries away the limestone, creating extensive natural underground voids and caverns. Eventually, there comes a point where the land from above the cavity can't support the weight from above and everything collapses into the hole, or sinkhole. This naturally occurring process is just one of many ways the ground can collapse or depress. And that's where we get the term depression. It's the gradual or sometimes sudden sinking of the Earth's surface from the movement of natural or man-made materials underground. And that's
Stay on case. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. Thank you. Gracias.
Say all sinkholes are depressions, but not all depressions are sinkholes.
Thanks, Alexis. Thank you for the
Depressions
sub.
can form several ways, including drainage of organic soils, broken sewer or underground pipes, and buried trash or other debris. While some holes in the ground can mimic a sinkhole, it takes licensed professional geologists or engineers to verify the true cause of the depression and officially declare it a sinkhole. So at this point, you're probably saying, why does all of this matter, right? Depression, sinkhole. Well, because of that specific difference, if it's natural or maybe man-made, sinkholes would normally be covered by insurance. If you purchased a home around here, you know that. They'll send out a team to survey if this is a sinkhole area, and then the insurance may or may not then cover your home. So it's something good to check into to see if your area is.
All right, well, I guess we'll leave it at that. But thank you guys for coming, man. Thank you for the super chat, Stays on Case, Robin. Thank you for the sub, Gina, Freelancer, Spicy Kid. Thank you for the 2 months, Willow. Thank you for the sub, Pat. Thank you for sharing, Jack Fox. Thank you for subbing, Galactic. Thank you for subbing, Mary. Thank you for subbing, Brian. Thank you for subbing. Appreciate that. I'm gonna be looking into well, I haven't seen many updates with that whole story that we covered. Another Florida story in Lauderhill, which I was a little hesitant to go to myself, but was really interesting to go in person. Where we found I didn't find them, but the residents found these two girls floating in the canal, super creepy. And then the mother turns up, and supposedly days prior, the mother was trying to baptize people. And so they believe the mother may have killed her kids by drowning. It's really weird, creepy story. I haven't seen any updates from the last time that I did that. And if you're interested in that story, if you haven't seen it, because I went in person, I brought my camera with me. I recommend you check it out because I thought it was a pretty good video. I'll put the link in the chat if you haven't seen it, but it should be on my main page. Also, there's a glitch that I'm going to have to reach out to YouTube. Something's going on with YouTube where you type in iCkEdMeL and it shows the stream that I did from 2 days ago as still live. Let me show you real quick. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe I shouldn't even complain to YouTube. See, this is us live right now. And then this is from days ago. It says there's 207 people watching while we're already live on this one. This one's been glitched out like this for several days. I don't know what's up with this. So I might reach out to them, to the customer support. I don't know if I just make this video private and then re-enable it, if it'll turn off, or I might just have to reach out to YouTube, because I've had several people DM me, email me, and they're like, hey, you're live. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't know. I've never had that happen before. Weird glitch. So, I don't know. But yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it, man. Have a good day. Be safe. Take care of yourselves. Thank you for the support. Yeah. Peace. keep it live, right? Just let people keep coming, right? Just let people keep coming and get the views. Maybe, I don't know. Lauderhill used to be nice. Lauderhill back in the day when it was nice. Spent the summer there. Yeah, I don't know. I went a couple years back. I went for the first time because I went to visit a friend or something. When I went there, I was like, damn, this is not a nice. This is kind of like a sketchy ass area. Like, people can tell you're not from there. You ever get that vibe where you pull into a neighborhood or you go into an area and everybody's like looking at you? I'm like, yo, I'm just stopping by. That's the vibe. And when I went this time, that particular residential area wasn't bad. It was creepy, but it wasn't bad. As soon as I left that little residential area, the rest of Lauderhill was super sketch. You walk into a store, that place is, all the stores are like sketch. People just hanging around outside the stores, everything. I don't know, man. I don't know what's up with that place. It reminded me a little bit of when I went to, what is that other place in Florida, South Florida? I think in Miami. Let me just see bad areas in Miami. I bet you if I type that, it pops up. Overtown, the number one. The most dangerous Miami neighborhoods. Overtown pops up as one. But I've never been to Liberty City. I've always wanted to go to, well, I wanted to pass by Liberty City. I never really wanted to go to Liberty City. Just pass through just to see. Overtown I've been to like twice. Not a nice area, man. Not a nice area. Not to say that the people are inherently bad, but just it's an area of crime and drugs and everything. Yo, one of the worst places, bro. That place to me, I think is one of the worst places I've been to in Florida. To me, it's like you're in another country or something. It's not. It doesn't even look like the United States. Somebody said Florida's a cesspool. I really think probably is. Yo, bad, man, bad. I wouldn't send people to go to Overtown. It's unfortunate, but it's pretty bad over there. That looks like a place where you just go to get stuff. That's what it looks like. I wonder what. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, don't go to Overtown. Stay away from that place, man. But anyway, yeah. I was gonna say have a good night, but take care of yourself. Have a great afternoon. Be safe. And I might come back later with some other topics. I need to start covering some other topics. I'll still keep doing these updates because I'm trying to do like daily live streams. But we'll start mixing in some other content. So we'll see when that happens.